I'd like to share a fabulous story that is an actual testimonial from one of the students that attended my mastermind 2 years ago on this wonderful book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, not lose. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Best-selling book by John Maxwell, and this book is for teenagers. There's also an adult version. So 2 years ago, I was doing a mastermind on this book, and there's several great chapters in this book, absolutely fantastic. So in the very beginning of the book, it talks about how, no one likes losses or mistakes or failures, no one. But it happens to everyone. So the one thing that it says here, that there are 11 traps that people tend to fall into when a loss affects their confidence. So what happened was, it was actually just once we got into the mastermind or somewhere near the middle or towards the end, that this actually happened with Zach, who was doing the mastermind. He had to go to do his driver's test, and he went along there and he didn't pass, he failed, and he was really upset when he came out. Upset, you know how it is, especially with teenagers, they may get upset, and they may get upset with the world or with the instructor or with the process, and that's the initial response that he had. But after a little bit of reflection and just a little bit of thought, he himself came to say a couple of things. And the one thing it says here, that's one of these traps when we have a failure, is the expectation trap. I thought it would be easy, but it isn't. So losses highlight the difficulties. And then what actually happens, which is explained in the following chapter about humility, the spirit of learning, it says that often we can blame. So instead of taking responsibility, prideful people blame others, and they believe that someone else is at fault whenever things are not working out for them. Or they're in a state of denial. That's another one. Instead of being objective and realistic, they don't face reality. A prideful person will choose to ignore what is obvious to everyone else and will rationalize his behavior. And that's initially what happened. But then through some reflection, he said, you know what, Mom, I take full responsibility for failing. I never actually put in the effort. I didn't study properly and I wasn't prepared. And straight after that, with humility and just two simple lessons, humility and taking responsibility, he went and, studied again and went back and redid the test, and he absolutely aced it. And he himself turned around to his mom and said, Mom, this is actually a sometimes you win, sometimes you learn moment. And I just want to share that because that is such a beautiful example of someone who had the awareness of not just learning stuff for the sake of knowledge and having it, we all know this and we know that, but actually integrating what he had learned and then reflecting on an absolute perfect example of having a loss or a failure, feeling terrible about it, angry, blame, denial, the whole thing, and catching himself in that moment. And that's the beauty of awareness. And just to say that was already 2 years ago, but that story stands out for me. And if you have any teenager in your life between the age of 12 and 17 who you think could benefit from this book, please don't hesitate to find out more about joining the mastermind on Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, best-selling book by John Maxwell. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Otherwise, have a wonderful day and God bless.